Good evening. This is the Young and Prolific show. I know I've been away for a very long time, but sometimes with these shows, we want to do quality shows. So, my name is Prolific B, and I've got Dr. Khadija Owusu today. I'm going to make sure that she was here previously, and today I grabbed her at a program last week. So, I wanted to reintroduce herself to people that have not seen her. She was here the last 3 years. Was it 3 years ago, innit?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. It's one of our fantastic doctors. You know what? You make me so proud. Today when you came, I was asking how old you were, and you said your age. And I'm thinking, you look 16 for a very, very knowledgeable, intelligent, beautiful doctor. So, Dr. Khadija, go ahead, give us a little synopsis of yourself.
Okay, but yeah, as you said, my name is Dr. Khadija Owusu. I am currently a GP trainee, so I'm a medical doctor based here in the UK. I'm also a speaker, founder of the Akaya Foundation and Melanin Medics. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, so today we're going to have different topics, but I think one of the topics that we're going to talk about, we're talking about young people and their health. And we're going to talk about drugs and alcohol stuff, but we're going to ease into it a bit. So how long have you been like a practicing doctor?
4 years.
Okay. So from your perspective of young people and their health, what do you say are the challenges that don't make them deal with their health?
I think for me it's also, what really helps is also being the fact that I'm also a young person. And so when it comes to being a young person that has this knowledge on being able to help other young people better their lives and understanding some of the challenges that they go through, it helps me relate to them even better. And I think some of the challenges are definitely around the fact that we all think when you're young, you're invincible to anything that's going to happen to you. And maybe when you get older, that's when everything will knock you on the door in terms of all the different health conditions. But it's completely wrong. It can be at any stage in your life where your health can deteriorate, where you can get any sort of conditions that you will experience. And I think that's the notion that we need to embed in all our young people, that if you start adopting these healthy lifestyle habits, making sure that you're aware of the different conditions that can affect you or the risks, in order to make sure that you prevent that, then that definitely will benefit you in the future.
Because you've been around for 4 years in terms of practicing fully, what are the illnesses and diseases that actually affect young people that you feel can be prevented before they reach a certain age?
I think so. When we look at preventable diseases, a lot of it is heavily related to the cardiovascular system, so our hearts. What can we do to prevent? Everybody says exercise, but exercise is really true. So making sure we are staying active, keeping fit. A lot of our jobs nowadays require us to sit at the computer, stare at screens. That was me today. Staring at the screen for God knows how many hours. And you do this from Monday to Friday with no sort of activity in terms of getting up to go for a walk or going to the gym, or what some people are doing nowadays is even running outside. So that's one thing. Exercise, diet is another thing as well. And in a society here in the UK where at every single street you'll find a chicken and chip shop, McDonald's, or some sort of unhealthy food joint, it's okay once in a while, but to make it a daily habit, that's where an issue comes into play as well. Then we can think of, smoking, cigarettes, shisha, I guess the kind of habits that young people adopt when it comes to nightlife or the party scene that a lot of us engage in at a young age.
When you said that, I think some months ago, the reason I wanted to do this show is, some months ago, I realized that young people drink a lot, they smoke a lot, and they party a lot. And I remember I asked one of the girls, and it's even around the female dynamics.
Right.
So I did ask them that, why do you feel you guys have to drink to socialize? And they said because sometimes it loosens them up, because sometimes they're a little bit
tense, shy,
and they don't have confidence. So sometimes when they drink, and I felt that was a cop-out, because with me, I remember when I was younger, music was what did it for me.
Same. We are, yeah.
Music was what did it for me. So from your end of being a GP, what are the damages when they start with drinking and having shisha and the balloons? What are the damages that it causes, and at what age does it become very imperative for them to know that it would actually make an impact?
I mean, the damages are numerous, I think. So especially at a young age, and a lot of it tends to happen as soon as you enter the university.
Yes.
Time period or stage of
It's kind of like you break free from home. So it's like you go for broke, isn't it?
It's true. Yeah. You break free from home. You're surrounded by just like your fellow mates and what they call Freshers Week, where they have events back to back, nightlife back to back. And in this scene is when I guess young people feel like they want to experiment and experience what I guess our parents have told us to stay away from.
Yeah.
Let me see what it's like for myself. Similar to you, I was definitely, it's music for me. If something is happening and there's no Afro beats, you will not see me there.
Because I like R&B
at all. Exactly.
No, I'm not doing it. Yes.
So then, in terms of what you're asking about the different effects, so when we look at alcohol, the main organ is your liver, liver disease, which, you know, acutely is what we call acute hepatitis. So in the instance where you have, let's say, a short term or an emergency attack where your liver becomes inflamed, that is what happens in an emergency. But when you continuously drink, and especially over the limits, so the UK guideline is you can't have more than 14 units of alcohol a week. And if you do, then you are crossing the limit. The other thing is, it could be maybe there's somebody that's drinking maybe a bottle every night consecutively, or it could be you don't drink for the whole week, but on Saturday and Sunday you binge drinking. You drink so much that it's still over the limit and it's still damaging as well. So when you cross the threshold, when you just drink too much, your liver is the primary organ that is affected, and years will continue to go by where you then develop chronic liver disease, and it can manifest as some individuals having issues when it comes to their bowel system, jaundice, a whole lot. Diabetes, everything. And when we look at smoking, we know obviously smoking in terms of you're inhaling all these harmful toxins.
So those are the shishas.
The shisha, the smoking.
What is the balloon?
So balloons is just a normal balloon, and what we're seeing is young people have these canisters of helium, and they basically blow up the balloon fill up the balloon with helium and inhale that helium from the balloon and inhale, exhale in order to get a high off of it. But balloons are very, very dangerous. And
how does it affect the organs?
So especially when it comes to your brain, you are starving your brain of oxygen.
Yes.
And without your brain having oxygen, you are affecting the brain function. So that's number one. Then there is a risk of what we call air embolism. So you're kind of shooting bubbles into your brain.
Okay.
And that can even lead to having a stroke. So there are so many different ways in which it can affect young people. And the rise of balloon culture, not just here in the UK, but when I'm also out in Ghana and I see the rise of that, in addition to shisha, which is something that I've noticed, it's a lot. And shisha,
what is shisha? Yes,
shisha is, I think a lot of it is predominantly known in the Middle Eastern Arab culture, where you have these kind of like canisters or bottles, and there's some coal where they have some I guess smoke that is inhaled through the pipe, where individuals inhale and exhale it in social settings. But the issue with that is, I think long before, people thought if you smoked shisha, it's better than smoking cigarettes, but that is the complete opposite. Smoking shisha is known to probably be like 100 to 200 times a cigarette.
Really?
So think about having 100 cigarettes and just inhaling shisha. That's the equivalent. And so it is bad.
What does it damage when people...
The lungs, of course. When you think about the different manifestations of how shisha and smoking can affect your lungs. It can go from COPD. So chronic smokers who smoke like a pack a day for at least 20 years, you're more likely to develop COPD, which affects your breathing. You get older and you struggle with breathing, you struggle with inhaling the oxygen that your body needs. You have to then rely on a lot of inhalers and medication, and you're really prone to just even, I guess, suffocating off of the fact that you're building up so much carbon dioxide in your body. Aside COPD, lung cancer is a big thing.
Yes.
And that can affect, it doesn't even have to wait till it affects you at such an elderly age. It can affect anybody. So
let's say that somebody starts at the age of, let's say, 15. What age would that impact on their health?
You would probably definitely start to feel the brunt of it past 40s, 50s going on. Yeah. So a lot of patients that do come in, whether I'm in, my experience working in a hospital or in a GP practice, the thing that most of them come in is they have this cough that's been persisting for a couple of weeks, or a couple of weeks to months, or they're having difficulty breathing, or maybe the things that they used to do normally, walking to the shop or just doing daily activity, is becoming more difficult for them.
Okay.
So your exercise tolerance is decreasing, meaning your lungs aren't working or as functioning as well as they should be. So when we do all the tests, we realize there is some sort of obstruction going on, and that's most likely the cause.
Okay, so I know we talked about smoking and stuff. So what about vaping?
Yeah. So vaping, it's like every day there's a new something.
Yes.
Vaping, another misconception is, well, because there's no sort of toxins, well, that's what people believe anyway, because there's no sort of toxins, it's the safer option. The issue with vaping is not a lot of research has been done into it.
Okay.
But I always advise to be cautious, because if we don't have enough knowledge on it, you never know.
Precisely.
So I think that's definitely something to be really cautious of. And I think people just generally have an addiction to that whole exhaling some sort of substance because they think it will calm them down. But there are so many other ways in which you can adopt some sort of calming method to alleviate the craving. We even have what they call nicotine patches to help when individuals who have smoked are trying to stop and they want to get rid of the craving. You even have ones that look like actual cigarettes, but instead they're actually helping you. So it really varies.
Okay, so I know that when you're younger, your parents will say don't do certain stuff, and that even actually makes you much more curious.
Right.
How do you feel that parents can speak to their children? Not by deterring them, by giving them that information. Because I realized that parents, especially African parents, we don't really do much of anything. It's kind of like, I don't do it because I say so.
Exactly.
Not because the information is out there, or we don't find a setting whereby it's conducive for the child to feel that, okay, sometimes somebody might say something and at that present moment you don't listen to it. And then you can go back and say, okay, the person said something, let me go back and, How do you think the parents, as African parents, black parents, how can we approach it?
Yeah. I think one thing our parents need to understand is a majority of them would have grown up in a completely different setting to a setting where their children are being raised in. So there is some sort of compromise, or let's say meeting in the middle, that needs to happen, whereby whatever you think maybe worked for you when you were growing up may not apply in this current situation where you're in a totally different environment with different external influences. And so where it comes to, I guess, maybe that kind of dictatorship of don't do this because I said so, we need to be able to adopt more of a conversational approach exactly with our children and raising them, and when it comes to some of these areas that are kind of tough or maybe uncomfortable to have. So it could be the case where you bring up the point of, okay, well, when it comes to smoking, have you seen anybody smoking? Maybe you might have friends smoking. Why is smoking bad? What do you think could be the causes? Well, actually, these might be the causes, and these are some of the research, or maybe even do the research together to understand some of the bad effects.
And say that these are the long-term effects.
Exactly.
Some of the effects are irreversible.
Exactly.
So approach it with respect.
Yes.
Not more of a dictatorship
No,
approach.
exactly. Respect and some sort of, I guess, teamwork.
Yeah.
Because you can also learn in the process of doing all this research and finding out some of the harmful effects. So that's really, I guess, the best approach to go with it. And that way your children will understand that, okay, well, I actually know why this is harmful and why I'm not going to do so, because
or even if I'm doing it, I do it in moderation.
Exactly. Yeah. That works.
Because one thing I've realized is most of the young girls, they drink. Oh boy, do they drink. And when I say they drink, we're not talking about a beer. We're talking about them mixing the hard alcohol. Somebody said they had liquor, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mixing it into a cocktail and all that stuff. And sometimes it breaks my heart that they can't seem to socialize without getting blooded.
Yeah, that really taps into underlying issues that I guess some young women have, where you feel as though you need what they call liquid courage or courage juice, just to get a bit of a kick and get that confidence. But long term, that's not going to serve you right in the best way. It's not sustainable, because being confident doesn't only apply in nightlife. It applies day to day in the workplace, where sometimes gender inequality still presents itself, and so you need to be able to speak up for yourself and exhibit that kind of confidence to make sure you are seen as though you are capable of doing the work that you are doing. So when it comes to those underlying issues and insecurities that some of these ladies have, there needs to be some sort of deeper work that needs to be done, as opposed to the shortcut of just drinking to get that top up.
And I know you've talked so much about the alcohol stuff. I just want to go on your career path. You know, when you decided, I know you went the last time that you came, when you decided to be a doctor, what actually pushed you? Because you are, when somebody sees you as a young person, sees you as a black woman, if anybody has an issue, they know they can come to you. What actually made you go into that profession? I know we're deviating a bit from it.
No worries.
Just want them to have a perspective of why
definitely.
you went into that.
So me, it's typical. Since growing up, I've always known I wanted to do medicine. I had a personal reason. So the sibling after me, I have two younger brothers. The one after me has sickle cell anemia.
Okay.
So
I remember you did say
yeah. So sickle cell, big sort of condition affecting us here, especially in the UK. Found out the other day that it's actually one of the fastest growing genetic conditions, which to me sounds a bit crazy, because we're getting to a point where we have all this knowledge about sickle cell, and we are educating our people. When you are entering relationships, make sure you do the necessary tests. But why are we still seeing a rise? It's not making sense to me there. But anyways, that was a huge factor in me pursuing medicine, because I wanted to make sure that I can also take care of other people. School-wise, science and maths were my top subjects. So I thought, this is the career path for me.
Okay. I remember my mom said many years ago that when it comes to black people and our diseases, we don't have a lot of people that invest in doing more research. So I think that is a reason why sometimes these diseases are not really caught on. Because I remember many, I got a cousin there is a sickle cell patient, and I remember they used to say it was rheumatism. Because she would have crisis and they didn't know what it was. And I remember it was down the line that when you started having a child, they prick their feet to find out whether they had sickle cell. But I feel that we don't put much research is not being put in trying to look into sickle cell. And even if it is, it's not a disease that affects the other part of our human race. So what affects them is what they do research on.
That's true, definitely. But I will say, research-wise, it has increased. They are releasing new medication. They recently, I think it's called hydroxyurea, which is helping some sickle cell patients. And the event that we went to last week, one of the speakers was actually a sickle cell. She has sickle cell, and she's been on a clinical trial in terms of...
What about the blood transfusion?
So the exchange transfusion, that's something that actually my brother gets every month. So with that, they will take out the sickled blood from the patient and replace it with normal non-sickled blood for the sickle cell patient, and usually it helps with all their symptoms to be honest, and they feel brand new because you have this normal blood flowing in your blood system. So it's great, but we have to also think about the fact that you need blood for it. And the best blood for it is blood by our people. So we need to make sure we are also out there donating. And this month is actually Sickle Cell Awareness Month. So we're encouraging a lot of people to go out there and donate blood to support.
I think with me, I keep saying I want to donate blood, but it's something that I need to do, because I remember when my dad was ill and he had kidney and he had a kidney problem and he had cancer. And I remember he had to get blood transfusion and all that stuff because he had myeloma.
Okay.
And every time I keep saying I want to donate, but I think this time I have to seriously make it, because somebody had to donate for him to survive for the years that he did.
Yeah.
Now I think that's one path that sometimes we need to look at.
Yeah.
That when somebody does something for you, to have to do it for somebody else. And I think before we go, I will get, you say it's the sickle cell month.
Yeah.
So I'll see where I can go and donate blood.
Yeah, definitely.
And all those stuff. I know you've got a foundation, stuff in Ghana.
Yeah.
Can you give us a breakdown of what the foundation is about, what it does in Ghana, and give us a background?
Yeah, so the Akaya Foundation, spelled AKAYA, is a non-profit organization serving the young women and girls, especially in Ghana. We actually do some work here in the UK as well, but predominantly in Ghana, and we do this through our key pillars of education, health and empowerment, because we want to make sure we build the next generation of female African leaders.
Yes.
And our work ranges from tackling period poverty in the high schools across Ghana. We've done about 7,000 girls.
So when it's a period poverty,
girls,
what does that mean?
So especially girls who especially come from the underserved communities, rural communities in Ghana, have difficulty accessing sanitary pads. So that's what we, I guess, generally term as period poverty, where you are unable to afford and access the sanitary pads needed for when it is that time of the month for yourself. And periods are something that we don't choose to go and experience. Is because we are women, we are female, we have those body parts.
Precisely.
And it shouldn't be the case that we have to miss out on things in life because we don't have a common pad. And one of those things is education. When girls experience their education, they don't go to school.
Yes.
And when it comes to managing the symptoms around menstruation, knowing what's right, knowing what's wrong, when to seek help, there is a lack of knowledge there as well. So our work really, I guess, provides that holistic support for the girls in the high schools. We have internship programs, so young females in university in Ghana. We help them in terms of transition into the workplace, give them internship, work opportunities. We have a mental health program for the university students, which is called the AYA Initiative, sponsored by the KGL Foundation. So that one looks after university students in Ghana who are going through a lot. So the gender-based violence, the mental health struggles, suicidal thoughts, a whole lot. And we also have events, conferences, and every December we contribute funds towards rebuilding or building a school.
I wasn't ignoring you. I was just trying to see whether I could get some questions. If people are putting questions out.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to find out from you was, when you go to Ghana, how difficult is it for you to be able to go into institutions and talk to the young girls?
So it really varies. There are some schools whereby the reception is so amazing. We always wish that we can go back to those schools and engage with those girls. But sometimes there is difficulty in terms of managing or navigating your way through the Ghana Education Services and then through to the school administration. I think there needs to be a general understanding of the fact that when it comes to the work that we do, it's not just a distribution and go. We need to make sure that, most importantly, the girls have the knowledge base, because otherwise there's no point. You'll be given these resources, but you won't know how to use them, and you won't know how to manage yourself when that time of the month comes. So we are very adamant on, we need the X amount of time with the girls. We're going to cover these topics and we're going to give them these resources. If you can't give us time, that's the only thing we're asking. We're not asking for money. If you can't give us time and the girls to convene, unfortunately, we don't want to waste anybody else's time, and we'll move on to the next school where we know these girls deserve and need these resources because they're not going to school. So that's kind of how it is for us, to be honest.
Okay, you know, when you go to these schools and you're talking to the girls, what are the challenges that you face in terms of when you actually give them a talk? Because you know that most of the time you have to do Q&A.
Yeah.
So, because if I'm coming there to teach you something, I expect you to actually interact by communicating.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that you normally have after you've done a presentation? Do you feel that there's a push and pull kind of thing?
Sometimes, definitely. I think the way we have designed our sessions, we naturally are able to bring out that side of the girls. But when they do start to shine in the sessions, you realize like this is what they really want from going to school. And they really miss out on that kind of education or style of learning or style of engagement. So it really helps us understand that, wow, these girls do have it within them, but it's about how we can get it out of them, which I don't think a lot of the institutions in Ghana are well averse towards doing, especially because, you know, if you're a young girl, you don't necessarily have a key voice in society. Everything, you're just told what to do. And if you question, you're probably rude or disrespectful. So those are some of the things that we do notice when we do deliver the sessions.
So when, we were talking prior before we started, and I was saying that because they've given these young girls a sense of, not cowardness, but a way of them making them timid, that when they ask certain questions, it makes them promiscuous.
Right.
How do you tackle that?
Yes. So especially when it comes to the women's health, menstrual hygiene aspect of things, we always ask them, what are some myths you've heard? And we hear a lot of ridiculous things, from not being able to drink cold water on your periods to, you know, some traditional myths in terms of not crossing a river, to...
That was a new one for me.
to can you have sex on your periods? And bear in mind, majority of these girls are like 13, 14 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah. So when we do these sessions, we're like, wow, okay. These ladies have questions. And this just goes to show that they're not being taught well about this kind of knowledge. And when you aren't taught well, you're going to find some other means to answer those questions. And through experimentation, and that can land you in teenage pregnancy, STIs, just risking your health in general. So it's a tough one, but what we do is we demystify the myths that these girls present to us, educate them, and they're like, oh wow, really? Okay. And things that you think you might think are normal in your periods, when they're actually not normal, these girls will then understand and actually be like, okay, I actually need to go and see a doctor. It's not normal to have your period twice a month. Yes. It's not normal to be in excruciating pain whereby maybe you're vomiting or you're fainting. That's not normal. There's something wrong. So we let them know that you definitely need to go and see a health professional. The sessions are done by medics. So if I'm in Ghana and I'm around for the sessions, I'm there to provide medical knowledge for the girls. But the team also, we have nurses, we have doctors in the team, medical students in the team who also fill in the gaps when I'm not around and sessions are happening.
Okay, I know everything you're saying is centered around the girls. What do you offer the boys?
So, very good question now. We always, funny enough, it's mostly the men that will ask me, okay, what about the boys? Yeah. So, I'm very strong believer in terms of there is a lot of responsibility that should also lie in the men to also do work with the men directly, because there is only so much a woman can do to assist a young boy in their development, growth and understanding and a lot of these topics. But what we do, so indirectly when we have some of our programs with these girls in the schools anyway, sometimes male students are present. When we do have our larger conferences, we have invited male school students as well. And when it comes to our school building projects, we don't just target a girls only school. It's a mixed school. So yeah.
The reason why I said that was sometimes we forget that these girls are going to marry these boys. Yeah. Sometimes there are certain parts of the body that a woman would be able to assess that there's something wrong than a man himself. And men are people that they don't like going to see doctors.
No, that
So
one.
when a woman is abreast of certain information when they are younger,
Yeah.
I think that is an area too, because I know you would say that a man would have more knowledge, but men don't even want to go to the hospital to begin with,
true.
no matter what age they are. So I feel that if that knowledge too is imparted in a woman or the young girls, they're going to have relationships with these men.
Yeah.
It will give them a platform whereby if they see something abnormal, they can tackle it.
Yeah.
And I feel that should go hand in hand in what you guys do, because period is one thing, yes,
Yeah.
cramps is one thing, you know, infections and stuff, but infections can be given by each partner and the hygiene aspects of it.
Oh yeah.
Which one thing that I realized was my mom was very, very high on hygiene. But I realized that some of these young girls, even they buy underwear today and they throw it away. They don't wash their private parts. They don't, you know. And how do you tackle all that?
Yeah. So with that, you're right. We always include the hygiene education. And so one of my team members who predominantly works on, you know, who leads these school projects, there's a segment that she gives hygiene education in terms of making sure that you are washing under well twice a day, making sure that you don't insert any sort of products or soaps or anything down there, because your vagina is a naturally cleansing organ. And also when it comes to your armpits and deodorant and that kind of feeling refreshed and not smelling as well. So that's also a key segment in our workshops that we include for the
Because
girls.
I know some of these girls, they just spray perfume on funk. So it's funk and perfume. And
That's
is
the worst
pungent.
combo.
That is so pungent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, when you're doing all these, you know, I know you started your foundation here and then you went to Ghana to go and do it. What is the challenges in this country and in Ghana when comparatively?
Ooh, okay, so...
Because in Ghana, you can say it's resource.
Yeah.
Here, they've got a resource.
Yeah.
So what is the challenge? Sorry, I'm just trying to...
Here, challenges-wise, I would say there are resources here. I think, I guess it's similar, but I guess it's accessing those resources. It can be a bit of a challenge. I think also because there's a lot happening here in the UK as well, for various different groups. So the competition ratio is much higher when you're trying to access resources to look after the groups that you particularly serve. So that's one key challenge as well, that I would say we've experienced here in the UK. But other than that, a lot more challenges lie in Ghana, yeah.
And what do you feel when we're looking at these challenges could be done to actually curb it? Because I know you're in the Western world and you go there.
Yep.
And then you help. But what can be done? You know, it's kind of like if you're going to, you take a tree and you plant it. You expect the plant to grow. Yeah? So let's say, you've taken your knowledge.
Yeah.
You've imparted it. How can it be sustainable then?
Yeah.
In terms of...
So how can it be sustainable? What we really do well, as I would say at Akaya, is in terms of building relationships with our partners. So the very people or the very corporations or organizations that...
So what corporations do you normally work with?
So in Ghana especially, one of our favorite partners is the KGL Foundation. So we work with them on our mental health program.
Okay.
So that's a 7-month program that we have for young women in university in Ghana who are going through a series of challenges. So we give them the mental health support and leadership development, and we then give them mini community grants to implement their own community projects and also impact their own communities as well. So the KGL Foundation, also in Ghana with our internship program, Remotely has been a really key partner in terms of sustaining that program. So Remotely is a company that recruits African workers to work for companies in the West. Remotely within their different countries. So, and that's British Ghanaian, also founded the company, Samuel, as well, member of the diaspora, similar to me. And then also when it comes to our smaller engagements, events, then we look at companies like, For in-kind sponsorship, we look at companies like Belacqua, Calipo. There's so many to name. I've lost count of them. But then also here in the UK, we do get quite a bit of support. Even though, you know, we always need more support, but in the UK, support comes from organizations like Kwanda. So Kwanda is a platform where individuals of the diaspora will donate as little as £5 a month, and you make this donation every month. And what happens is every month Kwanda will be like, okay, these are the projects that can be supported, and the villagers, what they call the people that donate, can vote on what projects should be funded. So Kwanda has supported a lot of the work that we do in the schools when it comes to the period poverty stuff, which is amazing. We also have, you know, the National Lottery here in the UK has supported our UK program, and individual donors. So because there's a lot of people here in the UK that really want to give back, but they just don't know how to. And this includes like fellow Ghanaians. And I always want to make sure that Akaya serves as that bridge. It doesn't necessarily mean that you must now get up and go and set up a whole foundation and stress yourself out. No, I've taken that stress, it's fine. We can help you with the on-ground logistics. So I think 2 weeks ago, there was a lady, British Ghanaian. She was going to Ghana for her 30th birthday. She wanted to give back. She fundraised and donated, and we made her sponsor one of the school sessions with the girls, and she was able to also speak to the girls about her career journey, being a woman in business, with her friend. So we're able to help, I guess, also make individuals' dreams come true and make that process easier for you in order to give back. So individuals also donate and support as well.
Okay, so this is your second time being on Omega, yeah? And I feel that Omega has been one of the platforms that has supported the youth in actually getting the word out there. And I feel with Omega TV UK, it's one of the TV stations that it's no frills, you know, it's like straight talk, making sure that parents get the information. How do we get people to understand that these are the platforms that needs the support to try and get the word out there? Because it's not because I'm not hyping up Omega. It's fact that we are all over Africa now. Do you understand? I've forgotten how many countries, but I know we're over 50 something, and I know it's more than that. Do you understand? Now, what we're trying to do is, it is not me promoting Omega or anything, but the youth, you know, today I said something to you, that one thing in our community is all the other communities inculcate their youth in what they do, but with us, we don't. When it comes to funeral, yes, they'll drag you. If it's church, they'll drag you. But when it comes to sitting down and talking to your children, trying to let them understand, trying to hear them, and I keep saying that the reason why this show was I actually went into it was because our parents talked to us, not to us. Now we've got a platform like Omega TV UK. How would we incorporate that? And let's say if we're doing anything, if you guys are doing anything, how can we incorporate that for people to hear us? Because sometimes when we talk about mental health, it might be one word or something that you say, because somebody can see you and say, you know what, I want to contact that lady. Do you understand? Because sometimes people are struggling. People are struggling in life in general.
It's true.
And sometimes you might think that, or a parent might think, I know it all. And the parent will look at this show and say, okay, wow, this young lady is a doctor. And I talk to my daughter and she doesn't listen. Or, you know, I talk to my son and he doesn't listen. How can we reach out? How do you feel that organizations can support Omega TV for them to be out there? To be able to spread the word?
Definitely. I think... what I think works well in Ghana is when there are things happening, there is also emphasis or importance placed on the fact that there needs to be media partners present. That's not something that we have really ingrained.
Tapped into,
here. So let's say end of July, I had a summit for young black girls and we did it at the Zoom headquarters. it didn't really come to mind that, okay, maybe it'd be really good to invite Omega TV to come and, shoot some of the day and the incredible, talks and workshops that we had for the girls and different companies, whatnot. So it's something that we are not really well accustomed to. And I think definitely that needs to change. And, me being more understanding of that, then definitely can start with myself. And then, I think also being able to see what is going on for the youth, and I guess offering support in terms of being able to cover, but also if there are opportunities for them to promote what they're doing, so that they can come here as well, that would be great as well.
Because one thing, and thank you so much for saying that. And the reason why I say that is you came here once, not knowing what your expectation was, and you came and you loved it, and then I pulled you in again. Do you understand me? And if you didn't feel that kinship, you wouldn't have come back. And I feel that everybody talks a good game about supporting the youth, but when it comes down to it, most of the work that you do is not seen. Is it because you're saying all the great things that you're doing, and for it to be televised, for it to be known, and for it to be associated with quality representation, media spaces, I feel that goes a long way. You see, I feel that goes a long way, and I'll still come back to it that you make us proud, honestly.
Thank you.
And you make us, as a young, black, beautiful, thin, let me throw that in, woman. The last time that we went on the show, remember we were talking about diets. And everything. Okay, I started as a size 6, and look at me now. Now, do you feel, when it comes to all these diseases, what do you feel that when we say eat healthy, how would we incorporate eat healthy in our African food? There you go.
Good question.
You didn't see that,
good question. Well, I'm not a nutritionist, but I will say...
But you see patients that come in and talk about, and I'm saying it from our background of our foods.
Definitely. Number one, salt. The salt intake, which is a lot, it's too much. So we add a lot of salt, and then we add a lot of seasoning, and seasoning already contains salt. So it's just a whole lot of salt that is then just going to eventually give us high blood pressure, which then becomes difficult to manage, because sometimes you have patients who you're telling them to take the medication, but then they don't comply with the medication, and their blood
they take it, but they still eat what actually causes the problem.
Or even they're not serious about taking the medication, and then your blood pressure is all over the place. And then if blood pressure gets too bad, we're looking at having a stroke, and it's very bad. So salt intake. The other thing also is oil. Our foods contain a lot of oil. We can definitely reduce or use better healthy options to oil. And then another thing is also...
do you think palm oil is high cholesterol?
Ooh, I'm actually not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. But the other thing that I was also going to mention was spice and tomatoes. A lot of our people have issues with indigestion, heartburn, ulcers. And it shocks me, because anytime I go to Ghana and some of our beneficiaries, our girls that we work with, they'll be like, they were just in hospital. I said, why? Ulcer.
How old?
Like teenagers or early 20s. I said, you're 21. What are you doing with the ulcer at 21 years old?
Precisely.
What are you eating? And then you hear things like, kenke for breakfast and this and that. I'm just like, hey.
Kenke for breakfast.
As nice as that sounds, let's relax.
No, it doesn't.
Not
It sounds
for breakfast.
heavy.
It's crazy. So our spice tolerance, or just spice in general, needs to be reduced, and the level of, or the amount of tomato heavy foods that we also consume as well. And let's also think about incorporating more salads, more greens, fruit as well in our diet. And fruits naturally, most fruits are naturally sweet anyway.
Okay, we got mango, we got pineapple.
Exactly.
It's got those are the ones I eat. So.
Bananas are sweet, so
yes.
they also contain natural sweetness. So if you're somebody that likes yogurt, maybe think about getting plain yogurt and just maybe chop some strawberries or bananas or mango on it, because that can be the sweet to the plain yogurt.
Oh, okay.
So there are lots of different alternatives. My mom's really into is it chia seeds? Chia seeds.
Oh yeah, I like chia seeds that is soaking. Yeah, I saw my son soaking those chia seeds. What are those chia seeds?
I don't even know, but I know that they help in terms of like fiber, digestion, and all those kind of things. So just looking at healthier options that you can plug into your normal diet here and there to make sure that things are okay, and just monitoring the salt and sugar, diabetes. Yeah.
You know when you said tomato stuff, I talking about the fresh tomatoes. Are you talking about the stews that we do with our tomatoes?
The stews, the soups, like everything. Yeah, everything. A lot of our foods have a heavy tomato base.
Yes.
And tomatoes are kind of linked to, you know, the acidity in your stomach. And,
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so heartburn. And if you have heartburn over a long period of time, that can also increase your risk of ulcers and also some kind of gastric cancers as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we just need to be careful with our stomachs.
So our foods, because our foods are carbohydrates, so we got yam, plantain, rice, what else?
But our foods are also healthy. If we look at, let's say, if you're having plantain with spinach stew, spinach is very, very healthy. And
unless you get goat meat and you get you didn't go down that route. Unless you're doing it with, let's say, fish.
Yes, fish is also
but
a good alternative.
I kind of like it when I put a bit of crab in it, though. I'm a bit out there. But because crab gives a lot of flavour. So I like putting crabs.
Yeah.
You know the crabs that you buy, I'm talking about the water crab.
Okay.
So you put it in, and then we've garden extra and stuff. Yeah. And then you get the momoni, you know, and then you kind of... Anybody that doesn't know what the momoni is salty fish, but you just use a little bit. Yeah. And that's different from the Kobe, though.
Yep.
Because Kobe's really got a lot of salt. But momoni, you just use a little bit. Yeah, all those stuff. And then that flavors it up. And then you can put mackerel. You can, you know... Yeah. Yes.
All the sardines or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah... just making sure that we are careful with everything. So even if we like a lot of meat, just in moderation, everything in moderation.
And then egusi, you know, like I realized that you can use the egusi. I think because I'm trying to go down that diet. My son is getting married, so I'm trying to get down that. So I was trying to, you know, when I was talking about the crab, the fish, I realized that instead of putting more fish and stuff in it, like dry fish and stuff. If you do the egusi stuff with garden eggs or the spinach, and then you kind of mix it up, it actually takes away the meat aspect of it. Yes, it takes away the meat up, and then you put eggs in it, which kind of fluffs it up, which gives it a little bit more texture to it. Exactly. You see, and I feel that because I know the last time when we came on, we went on Mavis' stuff. I was asking, what is a healthy combo? What's the healthy combo when it comes to our food? What's the healthy when it comes to our food? And I remember that doctor was smiling, that young guy was smiling. What's the healthy? Well, we've now only got about 5 minutes, so I want you to talk about why you feel young people's health, they should take it very seriously, so that by the time they reach the age of 40 or something, they are not crippling. Because I've seen a lot of young people in their 40s holding walking sticks and all those stuff. And I want you to sort of break it down for us.
So I think just young people in general, we need to understand that as much as we think age is on our side, we also have to be very cautious, because we feel good right now, but we also want to make sure we feel good in the next 10, 20, 50 years time, that God willing will still be here. And that means you need to make sure you are taking care of yourself, making sure you're taking the right steps in order to ensure that you still lead a healthy life down the line in the future. We may have parents around us that might be having high blood pressure, diabetes, all these chronic conditions, but that would have started from somewhere, and that would have started from adopting maybe some unhealthy habits from a long time ago, and we can make sure that we don't necessarily do those for us. So it's watching our salt, our diet. It's also watching our alcohol intake. Smoking, if you do smoke, try your best to reduce, but my advice is to just stop in general. Smoking, we always advise just stop. The shisha, if you're somebody that does it on occasion, try and minimize how much you do in a single night, because there are some young people that will just go the whole night smoking shisha. Balloons, don't even bother. Some things you look at and you're just like, what is the point? There is no point. So definitely just make sure that we take care of ourselves. And also understand that if you are somebody that has underlying reasons or issues or insecurities as to why you then resort to some of these short-term highs, there are ways in which you can combat those. And if that means you speaking to somebody, if that means you going to a counselor or a therapist, doing some meditation, counseling or whatever, please do so, because that will benefit you in the long term, as opposed to building these unhealthy addictive habits to the alcohol, shisha and all sorts. So young people, as much as we tell our parents to take care of themselves, you also need to take care of yourself too.
Thank you so much. So I want to thank everybody that tuned into this show. I want to say that I'm back. And next week I'll be back with Mavis from Miss Ghana, because Miss Ghana is going to take off again.
Back again.
And we'll have some of the young girls here, and then they're going to present themselves. But one thing that I want to say is I want to thank Omega TV, my producer Joe, and Sister Danswa for giving us this platform. Because this platform, as much when I wasn't doing the show, the amount of time that people found me that, so when are you going back, and then one thing I said was, if I'm not doing a quality show, there's no point, because I don't want to do fluff, because this TV station has given us quality airtime, so that has to be used properly. I want to thank everybody. Good night, and love you guys so much for giving us your time. Bye.